Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, also known as TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred to date in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things that we personally find intriguing enough for us to bring to you. The sources of this information come from the smart device application, Today in History, What Happened Today in History, Historical Calendar, and the website onthisday.com. For links to those sources, the music, and anything else potentially interesting, check the underbar in the description below. Anyway, today is, I am A.O. Xander, and today is Saturn's Day, also known as Saturday, July 23rd, 2022, and I am joined by...
Meat Cleaver.
Leave it to Beaver, Meat Cleaver. That's copywritten, but we claim no ownership. Anyway, moving on up into the history, starting in the year of 1148, Crusaders began the siege of Damascus during the Second Crusade, which was later to be abandoned on July 28th. Huh.
Okay.
All right. Damascus. That's a biblical name, biblical city right there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Absolutely is.
1453, during the Battle of Gavere, Philip the Good defeated Gentisi rebellion. All right, so I guess he lives up to his name, good enough to defeat a rebellion, and that's an interesting hat. Like all of these people, they have these awesome hats, and I want one like that.
I know.
But it looks like Professor Quirrell's hat. The guy from the first Harry Potter book.
Oh, yeah.
He had Snape on the back of his head.
Yeah.
He always wore that weird turban.
Yeah. You and hats.
Yep. 1532, Emperor Charles V and the Schmalkaldic League signed the Peace of Nuremberg. That's a weird league. He was a Holy Roman Emperor, so Charles V. 1579, Francis Drake departed San Francisco to cross the Pacific Ocean. Alright, he was an admiral, explorer, and navigator. So Sir Francis Drake.
He departed San Francisco?
Yes. Okay. In 1579.
Where was he going?
Across the Pacific Ocean.
And landing where?
I don't know. Japan, Korea, China, Australia, or maybe Terra Australis, I don't know. 1726, Benjamin Franklin sailed back to Philadelphia. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's when he went.
He was in France and all that. He was there for quite a while.
Yeah, that's when he was in France making allies and everything.
Yep.
1745, Charles Edward Stuart, the Young Pretender, landed at Irisque Island, Hebrides. All right, Hebrides. What is Hebrides? Let me check that out here. An archipelago in Scotland. Okay. And he
Scotland, huh?
So he landed somewhere in Scotland. The Young Pretender. So he was a pretender to the throne, I guess, or something.
Is that what that means?
Yeah, a pretender is like somebody who claims to be the heir to the throne.
But not necessarily is.
But not recognized by the parliament, or whatever like that. So
okay.
So you could be the firstborn child.
Yeah.
But if your father names your younger brother, then suddenly you're a pretender, and that's
or you're screwed.
Well, that's exactly. You either tough times make tough decisions. Anyway, 1777, Polish military leader Kazimierz Pulaski arrived in Marblehead, Massachusetts, to volunteer in the Continental Army Cavalry.
Yeah,
interesting.
Nice up there.
1798, Napoleon Bonaparte captured Alexandria in Egypt. Yeah, that's right. Napoleon Bonaparte, he invaded Egypt.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, well, actually, I didn't realize that either until not too long ago. I saw a trailer for Napoleon Total War, and apparently, he went down to Egypt. There was a whole war around the pyramids, and he totally decimated the Egyptian army, on their home turf, just ground them to a dust. And then took it over and all that stuff. It's kind of interesting. Egypt, they got conquered by the Romans, the Italians.
Yeah.
Julius Caesar himself is said to have started the fire of the Library of Alexandria.
Really?
Yeah, Julius Caesar himself. And that was when
right?
That's when Cleopatra was leader. Yeah. I think she denied his advances, so in retaliation he was going to burn down the city, and he started with the library because it was so renowned. It was like, take this, Cleopatra. I don't know. And then Italy, and then France comes in and then takes it over in more modern times. Anyway, we have the first U.S. typographer here in 1829. William Austin Brewer patents America's first typographer, which was a typewriter. So, yeah, the first typewriter. Look at that.
1829.
Yeah. Now, I'm not sure if I've asked you this question, but do you know why we have the QWERT keyboards?
Why?
Because with typewriters, these were in the best spaces, because you only had to you had a metal box here with
Right.
all these levers and everything. So
Right.
how are you going to have all these keys for all these different things in the best what's the word efficient spots?
Okay. Yeah.
And it just moved over from analog to digital. We never switched. So what you see here is what you see on a typewriter for, like the typewriter evolved like that and it just stayed over. Instead of having to retrain entire generations who learned on a typewriter, just bring the keys over.
I want to know who figured out the efficiency in 1829. How did you figure that out? Because it is really efficient.
Well, you think about it, like
really
that's staring like somewhere around in the middle of the Industrial Revolution, and that's all about mechanization,
Mm-hmm.
So like it's just trial and error. Like you don't have all these computer programs like we do today. You had to physically build models, test,
Yep.
and
Let the fingers do the walking.
Yep, and the talking. 1870, Emperor Napoleon III appointed Empress Eugenie as regent of France. That's an interesting mustache.
Yeah, good old handlebar.
Yeah. Oh, well, the handlebar, isn't it a curly? He has straight up, javelins coming out of his face.
Well, I always just thought of it as handlebar straight out coming out. But maybe it turns up.
We can learn. Handlebar mustache. What the hell is this? What? Ew. Why?
It does look like it turns up.
No, his nose hairs.
Oh,
why?
I wasn't
Ew.
looking at that.
What the hell?
Let's move on.
Yeah, but no, this is a handlebar mustache because the handlebars have a little curve. So you have English, chevron, Hungarian, walrus, imperial. So there is different types of handlebar mustaches. So you're right and I'm right. We're both right.
Yeah.
Now look at that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. 1872, black U.S. citizen inventor Elijah McCoy was granted a patent for lubricators for steam engines. Well, that's cool.
Lubricators, though. I mean, obviously they had to have lubricators for it to work. So what did he invent?
Well, he probably made a better lubricator. Or maybe this was when steam engines were first. I mean, this is 1872.
Yeah.
But then again, then they had the Titanic in 1912, so 1872 to 1912. Well, that's 50
That's
years.
a lot of years.
That is 50 years. Oh,
Especially
40. Yeah.
Well, especially when progressions were moving so much slower 100 years ago.
Yeah.
150 years ago.
Well, when was the steam engine invented? We can do that. So that then we can gauge off that. When was the steam engine invented? 1698. Okay. Well. And a lot of people would argue even before that, because remember that one ancient Mesopotamian? It is that little ball with the two things that spins.
Yeah.
That's technically a steam engine. It's using the
How
power
so?
of it's using the power of boiling water, the steam, to move the mechanism. It's a steam engine.
Okay.
It's not powering the thing, but it is the very fundamental basics of what that propulsion system is. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. No, I do.
Yeah, that really from 498 or whatever before Christ or something.
Just
I
trying
don't know.
to hook it up to steam engine.
Well, it uses
I
steam
get what you're saying.
to move a component.
I know. So, okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what it does, to break it down even more, it's a metal ball with the two pipes coming out pointed in opposite ends, so that way it moves and then you boil the water within it, and then the steam comes out through the only areas, and the pressure causes it to move.
Yeah.
So it is artificially generated locomotion.
Speaking of let's move on because you're steaming me.
1907 International Lawn Tennis Challenge, Wimbledon. Norman Brooks defeated Herbert Roper Barrett 6-2, 6-3, 6-0. The last two were switched. Sorry, to give Australasia a 3-2 win over British Isles. Huh. So back then they clumped Australia and Asia together. Australasia.
For this, I guess they
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about, games and stuff, the server banks, there's North America, South America, Europe, and oftentimes they roll Australia. Now, Australia has recently been its own thing now, but I remember, back in the early days of WoW, the Asian servers, be it, Korea, Japan, China, Taiwan, Vietnam, like anybody in Asia who had access to WoW, they were tied in on the same server banks as Australia. So the Australians and Asians, they had their own little time zone and thing, for updates and whatnot, which is kind of weird.
But that's demographics. They should really be tied to Europe. I mean, they're so much more like Europe.
Well, no, it's
US.
No. It's because of their physical location on the planet.
I know. I got it.
So. Nothing to do with the demographics, but more recently, Australia has become its own thing. I mean, they're an island, they're a continent, and they're a nation all in one.
Yeah.
Now they're finally getting their own, but it makes sense. Back then, Wimbledon, not a lot of people in Australia to begin with, let alone tennis players. So just roll them up with something else,
Okay. Yeah.
It's just a numbers game. 1925, New York Yankee Lou Gehrig hit his first of 23 career Grand Slammers. Nice.
His first one, huh?
Yeah, today.
23. You know how many that is?
One more than 22.
Yeah, you're right.
But not yet 24.
I mean, just to do that once is amazing. 23 times? First you have to be put in that. First, you have to be put in that position, bases loaded, and you're up. And then you have to deliver. So he did it 23 times.
So a grand slam is when you empty the bases and run yourself?
Yeah, 4 runs.
Oh.
It's a home run. Bases loaded, home run.
Wow. That is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Very situational requirements. 1934, Australian cricket batting legend Don Bradman completed 304 and drawn fourth test versus England at Leeds, 4:30 minutes, 43 by 4s, 2 times 6s. What? Can you make sense of any of that?
No. It's cricket.
British sports are as stale as bread. 1942, Adolf Hitler's Directive Number 45, in which order for army to advance on Stalingrad. Yep, his great folly.
You know what bugs me about the whole thing? His era coming to power.
How he fought in the First World War and was physically in the area of knowing how not to operate warfare, and then still doing the same exact blunder of opening a second front.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, how did a very small percentage of the population come to power? We don't study that part of it, because that's what we need to learn.
Because that's what the powers that be want. They don't want us to know because they're the people who did that. So, yep.
Stop steaming me.
That what you're going to call it when I bring facts? Just calling it steaming you? 1945, Marshal Philippe Pétain, leader of the French Vichy collaborationist. Philippe Pétain.
Okay.
Philippe?
Yeah.
Philippe,
I would say.
Philippe.
It's French. Philippe.
Leader of the French Vichy collaborationist regime during World War II, went on trial. Oh yeah, Vichy France. They were a German puppet. The lower half of France, basically Vichy France. Germany set up a puppet government with Philippe Pétain, or not Philippe Pétain, but somebody else. But he was involved apparently. But yeah, the Germans only occupied really the north, the south. They left for the Italians, and then the Italians were just bumbling, because they just couldn't do it. So then they just set up a puppet government, in the south in Vichy.
I didn't realize that. I thought that they pretty well took over all of France. You just automatically think that.
Well, they did, technically.
Yeah.
You know, they just, you know, they still
didn't
had
to dominate the South.
the South. No, you know, they're mainly focused on like, you know, the northern areas where the invasion would come and everything. And they had, you know, they were allied with Italy.
Yeah.
Spain was neutral, but neutral on their leaning because their leader was a fascist. You know,
What's his face?
Francisco Franco.
Yeah.
Here we go. 1946, Menachem Begin's Zionist military group, Ergun, what? Menachem Begin's Zionist militant group, Ergun, bombed the King David Hotel, the then British administrative headquarters for Palestine. See? The Zionists, you know, control the world. That's why I keep telling you, like, you know, all the Rothschild, you know, central banks and everything, they're all Zionists. So, and you know, the leaders of Israel are all Zionists. Facts are facts. 1956, Joe Cronin and Hank Greenberg inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. 1959, U.S. Vice President Richard Nixon began his visit to the USSR. I am not a crook. You gotta get
that quite well.
You gotta
get those jowls going.
You gotta relax. You know, you gotta relax your lower mouth.
That's too good.
1960, U.S. Open Women's Golf, Worcester Country Club. Betsy Rawls won her 4th Open title, one stroke ahead of runner-up Joyce Zaisky. 1 year later, 1961, U.S. opera singer Grace Bunbury became the first black singer to perform. I almost said African American. Wow, I'm so opposed to what they're saying.
Wow.
So first black singer to perform at the Bayreuth Festival, Germany. She earned 42 curtain calls. What's
Why do we define that? I don't get that. We're Americans. Damn, you know, we're just Americans.
Well, she became the first.
Yeah. Oh, you're black, obviously.
You know, like everybody wants segregation to come back. It seems. I mean, like BLM is basically like killing people for it to come back. It's like this guy here lived in an era where they had different water fountains, and he's watching it all come back from the people who got rid of it in the first place. Stupid. 1964, Kansas City A's Bert Campaneris home runs on the first pitch he saw from Twins Jim Kaat, adding a second home run later, also off Kaat in Minnesota.
Why do we care about that?
I don't know. Why is it highlighted?
That's weird.
Well, why do we care about what was his face? Kennedy. Remember, they say, oh, Kennedy had a colon operation or something.
Yeah.
Why do we care about Kennedy's colon?
Well, I think we ought to ban anything about cricket. That's one thing we should do.
I think we should start with Wimbledon.
Yeah, that seems to dominate. Yeah. At least, you know, rules of something. Cricket? Keep it in England, thank you.
Yeah, chirp, chirp. 1966, Frank Sinatra's album Strangers in the Night hit #1 on the U.S. charts, later to get a Grammy for Record of the Year and Best Male Vocal Performance.
Strangers in the Night.
Strangers in the Night. I want that hat.
Yeah, and the hat.
Now, do you see anything interesting, though?
The hat?
I mean, but, like, he's wearing his hat wrong.
A little tilted.
But, like, he's tilted his head and the hat's straight.
Yeah.
So, it's an illusion. I don't know. 1969, 40th MLB All-Star Game at RFK Memorial Stadium in Washington, D.C. The National League beats American League 9-3, with the most valuable player being Willie McCovey of the San Francisco Giants. First baseman? 1B?
Yeah.
First baseman, okay. I'm slowly learning.
And Willie Mays played together.
Yeah.
2-1-2 punches.
Not to be confused with Billy Mays. Keep making that stupid joke.
No, we don't want to be confused with that at all. Don't think we will.
Billy Mays is selling Orange Glow in Heaven now to God. But wait, there's more! 1974 All-Star MVP Steve Garvey of the LA Dodgers. Yeah, I actually saw the video of him ordering from
Get this camera guy.
No, that was.
Oh no, I got the wrong guy.
That's
that's
the guy who had his tongue bit off by a hooker.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, the ShamWow guy.
ShamWow, yeah.
Vince.
That's it. Good pull.
Yeah. Man, dude, like the void Billy Mays created.
Yeah.
Like, because there's so many new salesmen came in, like, you know, with that energy. You know, Vince, and then there was that other guy, the Australian. You probably saw him a couple of times.
Don't remember right off.
Like, anyway, 1976, Baltimore Orioles, Reggie Jackson homers in the 6th straight game. Nice. In 1978, MLB Philadelphia Phillies, Steve Carlton became 78th MLB pitcher to win 200. See, this guy has a hat and a poof.
Hat and a poof.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write a child's book about that or something.
That sounds kind of wrong. 1976, George Brett got his 1,000th hit. Nice. 1980, River of No Return wilderness area was designated by Jimmy Carter, the peanut farmer.
Yeah.
Yeah. River of No Return. Well, I guess that's where the river's going, to the peanut farm. I will take all the water. 1984, KC Royals Dan Queensberry got his 200th career save. All right.
Good for him.
Also, in 1984, Vanessa Williams became the first black U.S. citizen Miss America, resigned after Penthouse publishes unauthorized nude photos of her. Well, you know what? Maybe if you didn't pose for them, they wouldn't be authorized. You know, like that makes no sense. How could they publish something unauthorized? She allowed them to take the pictures. You know,
well,
what did she expect them?
Private, but you know,
doesn't matter. What did she expect was going to happen? You know,
always got to look ahead. You know, it's fine now, but what's it going to be like?
Exactly. You got to think. Nobody thinks about the future. 1986, Moroccan King Hassan II met with Israeli Prime Minister Shimon Peres. 1989, British Open Men's Golf at the Royal Troon. U.S. Mark Calcavecchia won his only major title in the first ever 4-hole aggregate playoff with Australians Greg Norman and Wayne Grady. Alright. 1989, Ringo Starr's first all-star band debuted in concert. Members included Joe Walsh, Niles Lofgren, Rick Danko, Levon Helm, Clarence Clemens, Dr. John, Billy Preston, and Jim Keltner.
We're getting a lot of irrelevant
yeah. Well, like,
here.
Yeah, well, Soen saw a couple interesting things that were, like, I don't even remember them. Like, I'll have to show you the video from yesterday, like, when he was here. But there's a lot of
meaty stuff that's not being highlighted.
Yeah, well, keep in mind, everything is controlled, you know, by the leftist media. They're trying to, and if they don't, and I'm unfortunately falling prey to this, if they don't have it highlighted, we don't see it, and then they can just kind of push it under the rug, and then it's gone. You know, that's how history changes. We don't even notice it. Nobody's looking, and all the people looking are the enemies. 1992, Bruce Springsteen began a world tour, his first with musicians other than the E Street Band. Huh. Yep.
You know, I'd rather hear about the South African workers being arrested, union or whatever it was. Just catch that. South African Workers Union leader, Billy, I can't read it from here.
Yeah, 1990, South Africa Workers Union, Billy Nair was arrested.
That's better than, first time with not the E Street Band.
Yeah. But see, like, you know, that makes me wonder, like, what did the South African Workers Union, you know, do? What did he do to get arrested? What happened? You know? Like, I don't have the time to research it on the show.
I understand that.
But,
it's just a shame. They seem to be highlighting weird stuff today.
Because it's all subliminal. As I was saying, like, this is all intentional. They're trying to subvert. So, 1993, David Boone completed 17th Test cricket century, 107 at Headingley. Cricket. 1994, U.S. dancer, actor, and director Gene Kelly suffered a mild stroke.
Oh, I didn't know that.
1994 as well, Don Mattingly became the 6th New York Yankee to get 2,000 hits.
Okay.
All right. 1995, during the Tour de France, Miguel Indurain of Spain won the 5th consecutive tour, 4 foot 35 inches ahead of Alex Zule, Lawrence Javelot points winner.
Wow, okay. 4 feet and 35 inches?
Yeah.
Jeez, that's nothing.
Yeah. That's nothing. That's a whole person.
That's a short person.
We know one of those out in Arizona.
Yeah, we do.
2000, 87th Tour de France, no winner. Lance Armstrong was disqualified. And there's no winner because, remember, as I said the other day, like the next 35 people all tested positive. It's like, then why do we have the sport? Why do you have that rule when everybody's breaking it? You know?
Yeah.
Either enforce it harder or get rid of the sport. Because clearly not even the athletes are taking it seriously. You know? 2010, One Direction was formed during the X Factor show as Neil Horan, Harry Styles, Liam Payne, Zayn Malik, and Louis Thompson joined together. Okay. I didn't realize that the band forming was an impromptu on-stage thing, and that's pretty interesting. Moving on up into 2015, the Supreme Court rejected Bill Cosby's petition against a civil case for his alleged sexual assault of a 15-year-old girl at the Playboy Mansion in 1974. Yeah, you know, like, the Me Too movement really brought out a bunch of lies. So, and it's very easy to just say, oh yeah, it happened in 1974. Yeah, you know, you have no evidence. It's just, you know, you have to completely rely on witness testimony and make a judgment on that. Of course they're lying. Come on. You know, Bill Cosby, like, no, I think he's innocent. I think he's just got caught up in all of this Me Too, and he became a target. One person went after him, then two, and then it became a flood. Then after X amount, everybody just started going after him because he was an easy target. Everybody else was going after him, and the chances of you know, getting something out of it was a lot higher. You know.
Well, the unfortunate thing is, I had the privilege of seeing him live on stage, and he is so funny. It's unbelievable. I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard at points.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is a shame. I would like it if he wasn't, but who knows? He's been found guilty, so I guess he's guilty.
Well, that's not necessarily true. I mean, there's been so many people found guilty who are not guilty. No,
either way, it's super sad. Either way,
he's obviously
if he's
a victim.
Target, it's sad.
Yeah.
If he's guilty, it's sad.
Well, it's sadder if he was a target because, you know, it's worse. Because, like, if he is guilty, then that's just him doing it against one person, or, you know, it's 5 people or whatever it was. But if I'm right, it's even more sad because it's all these people coming out of the woodworks just to get a chunk of the carcass, like a bunch of ravenous sharks or hyenas, you know, or like buffalo. So, 2017, 104th Tour de France was won by Charles Froome of Great Britain, which was his 4th win. 2019, Boris Johnson was chosen as the new British Prime Minister by the ruling Conservative Party to replace Theresa May.
And now we know he's out.
Yep. You know, he should have been impeached. He should have been taken out, you know, stripped of everything. You know, that guy's a piece of crap.
Well, they have different rules there. You don't impeach there.
Well, whatever the equivalent of impeach is. Like,
well,
crucify this motherfucker. You know, like he took away people's rights, and then...
What are you talking about?
Like he put down all of those lockdowns and, you know, and all of those things, and then he had that party, and then people found out, and then to pay back for his transgressions, he gave back everything that he took. So essentially, he did absolutely nothing, and people ate it up. He should not have the privilege to step down. He should have been removed. So.
Well, but he started off with he came to power by saying we have to implement the Brexit. Because they didn't want to, even though the people have voted for it. The government wouldn't do it, and he said, no, we got to do it, and he did it. So, I mean, he did some good things for his country.
Was it, though? I mean...
And he turned. I don't know what happened.
Well,
but anyways, listen.
Anyway, 2019, U.S. Senate passed bill championed by comedian Jon Stewart to ensure 9/11 First Responders Fund never runs out of money.
That's important.
Okay.
What does Jon Stewart have to do with it?
Jon Stewart, he was the host of the...
No, I know that. Senate bill championed by...
Yeah, comedian Jon Stewart. I mean, the amount of political power, celebrities have is astonishing.
It's baffling.
Yeah.
Baffling.
Like, we deify people.
Someone makes me laugh and I want to give them political power? What the hell?
That's because we as a culture are sick, you know. Like, we deify celebrities, we glorify hoarding money, and while at the same time, if somebody if somebody hoards paper, like somebody like Donald Trump hoards money, then they're a hoarder. Why is Trump not called a hoarder? It's the same thing, you know? Speaking of Trump, in 2020, U.S. President Trump said he could send 75,000 federal agents to deal with violence in U.S. cities like Portland, drawing backlash. Yep, well, whatever.
They have to be invited in by the mayors of the governor.
And they wouldn't do that because they wanted to raise the chaos. They wanted to raise the anarchy, and then they'll turn around and blame him for not doing any action. The great liberal, redirection. Anyway, before we move on into births and deaths, were there any articles that grabbed your attention today?
Well, honestly, I was a little bit disappointed of the lack of different topics that we could have had. A lot of sports in there, and abusing people and stuff like that. I'm a little bit disappointed on the overall, is what I would say.
I am too, and I have the time, but I just don't have the drive to just go over everything.
Yeah, you're time like everybody else. So,
but
anyways, that's kind of my overall taste. It's not every day like this, but
yeah.
Anyways.
Well, I mean, 1812.
How about you? That caught your fancy, maybe?
Well, the first U.S. typographer, so the first typewriter.
Well, that's kind of cool.
That's
interesting.
interesting.
I'll give it to you. I think I own one of those that he invented. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It seemed to be that old when I was a kid.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, no, speaking of, because believe me, I'm disappointed, as well. Right here in 1812, the Battle of Mogilev, first significant fighting during Napoleon's invasion of Russia, results in minor French victory.
Yeah.
Why is that not highlighted?
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's really interesting.
I love something that moves you, that seems insignificant as far as history goes, but then you go, oh wow, that's really important.
Yes.
That's what I love.
Because Napoleon...
Not the headlines, just the special ones.
Napoleon's the only one, now he didn't defeat Russia, but Napoleon's the only one that actually provided a genuine threat.
Okay, yeah.
You can argue Operation Barbarossa was that, but, really? The Russians had more men than Germans had bullets, literally. Literally.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. Anyway, moving on into births, starting us off in the year, man, they just scoop all the way back down here to 1884. We have M.L. Jennings. He was a German actor. Faust, the Blue Angel, The Way of All Flesh, born in Warschach, Switzerland, dying in 1950. In 1892, we have Hale.
Hale. I'm from the South, and I say all hail.
Haile Selassie, actual name Ras Tafri Makonnen. Wow. He was an emperor of Ethiopia from 1930 through 1974. Born in Injurza, Goro, Ethiopian Empire, dying in 1975. First emperor of Ethiopia. Then we have Anthony Kennedy in 1936. He was the 106th U.S. Supreme Court Justice from 1988 to 2018. So that's what? 24, that's 40 years.
Yeah.
He was born in Sacramento, California. Californian.
No, California was different every day.
Well, that's where.
Quite a bit different.
That's where all this.
Ronald Reagan came out. He was the governor. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't be there today.
Yep. Yeah, true. His museum has been taken over. So.
Yeah, that's another topic that's sad.
Yeah, 1936, Don Drysdale was born on this date. He was a U.S. Baseball Hall of Fame pitcher, World Series of 1959, 1963, 65, 9-time Major League Baseball All-Star, Cy Young Award of 1962, Brooklyn and L.A. Dodgers, born in Los Angeles, California, dying in 1993. So that's weird. He was born, he went to Brooklyn to play with the Dodgers, and then he came back home.
Yeah, they moved out here.
That's weird. Then we have Graham Gooch. The Gooch. 1953, English cricketer, captain of England, opening batsman, and prolific run scorer, born in London. The Gooch.
1950. That's a different Gooch.
Yeah. 1953 as well, we have Najib Razak, Malaysian politician who was the Prime Minister of Malaysia from 2009 through 18, born in Kuala Lumpur, Malaya. I almost said Kuala Lumpur, so that's a different city apparently. Isn't Kuala Lumpur an Asian city? I think so.
I have no idea, other than I've heard of it.
1961, Woody Harrelson. Hey. U.S. actor Woody
Cheers.
Boy in Cheers. He was also in Zombieland.
I am?
You saw Zombieland, right?
No.
You haven't seen Zombieland?
No.
Wow, okay, well, he's Tallahassee in Zombieland.
He's nothing to me. Tallahassee is
he's-
nothing to me.
Tallahassee is the capital of,
Oh.
well, they're named after...
I got you. We're referring to something in, like, his name.
That is his name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like,
He's nothing to me then. I didn't see
we
it.
got to change that. You got to see it. Born in Midland, Texas. Then we have Slash, 1965. Saul Hudson, an English U.S. rock guitarist and songwriter. Guns N' Roses, Sweet Child of Mine. Born in Stoke-on-Trent, England. Or Stoke-on-Trent. That's a weird name. Stoke-on-Trent.
Yeah.
What city has a hyphen? What city?
I don't know.
Still 8 syllables, but we added a hyphen. They have 2. My God. 1967, Sir Philip Seymour Hoffman was a U.S. actor, Capote, Moneyball, and Twister. Born in Fairport, New York, dying in 2014.
He's a really great actor.
Yeah.
He can do anything. He
Dude.
can vary his roles to anything.
Yeah, did you know he was in Twister? Remember that? Remember that
Yeah,
movie
he
Twister?
was. Yes, he
He was a
was.
nobody back then.
Yeah.
Like, that was before he became, the big name. And it's kind of weird. You see this great, renowned actor just acting like a total yutz. He's like driving a camper van with rock and roll. Woo! Like, wow.
He can play any role. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah. 1971, we have Alison Krauss, a U.S. bluegrass singer and fiddler, Union Station raising sand, born in Decatur, Illinois.
I don't hear anybody called a fiddler.
Ooh. Monica Lewinsky. 1973. U.S. White House intern, improper relationship with Bill Clinton. Yeah. Born in San Francisco, California. Oh, that explains things. She's from San Fran, Yeah. 1989, Daniel Radcliffe, English actor, Harry Potter in the Harry Potter series of movies, born in London, England. Yep. And moving on into deaths, we have Roger Sherman, died on this date in 1793. He was a U.S. lawyer, or an American lawyer, and founding father of the United States Declaration of Independence. Died of typhoid fever at the age of 72. Dang.
That was a deadly disease then.
Yep. 1885, Ulysses S. Grant, 18th U.S. President from 1869 through 77, and a Union general, died from esophageal cancer in Mount McGregor, New York at 63. Oh, that must have sucked. Esophageal cancer, that's how you eat, Like, that must have hurt,
Sucked, I got it.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't making a joke.
Oh, you weren't?
No. But for once.
Yeah.
1948, D.W. Griffith was a U.S. director and producer. Birth of a Nation. Died of cerebral hemorrhage at 73. Ew. And, of course, we have Philippe Pétain.
Again.
1951, a French marshal and chief of the French state from 1940 through 44. Died at the age of 95. So,
Ripe old age.
Yep.
How did ripe get in there? I guess you're old, you're ripe.
I guess. I mean, I guess you're overripe.
Definitely overripe. You're gone.
Amy Winehouse, 2011. Died on the state in 2011. She was a British singer, songwriter, stronger than me in rehab. Died from alcohol poisoning at 27. Yeah, she was really trash. Unfortunately, right? Like, I've heard nothing but bad things about Amy Winehouse.
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know. I don't hear any of that stuff.
Yeah. 2012, Sally Ride was a U.S. astronaut and the first U.S. woman in space. Died of pancreatic cancer at the age of 61. Well, that is one hell of a ride. She earned that name. So.
God. That's an e-ticket, as they say.
Yeah.
In my generation.
And that concludes the show. Once again, you can check the underbar for any links that you may find interesting. For all of you and all of us, I am A.O. Xander.
I'm Meat Cleaver.
And you are you. And we stream every day at 10 in the morning Pacific time. So until you catch us tomorrow, do not forget to look right and left at every intersection. Rate 5 thumbs and subscribe. Until then, toodles. Let's go, Brandon.